Have you ever felt stuck in a conversation because you couldn't think of the right word or you didn't know how to respond? Let's fix that. Today, you'll learn how to speak fluently in English about anything. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Of course, to speak fluently in English, you need a wide range of vocabulary, correct grammar, correct pronunciation, and listening skills. I have hundreds of videos on my channel to help you improve all of these areas every week. In this video, you'll learn how to speak fluently in English about anything with the language skills you have now. Step 1, active listening. When people speak to you, do you find yourself thinking about what you're going to say next as the person is speaking? Maybe you're thinking about what verb tense you need as the person is speaking. Or maybe you're even thinking about some task you need to do later on. Maybe you're thinking about what to have for dinner as the person is speaking. Does that ever happen to you? Be honest. The answer is probably yes, isn't it? How can I say this with such certainty? Because I'm guilty of this too. So if this ever happens to you, put that's me in the comments so I'm not all alone. Now, when this happens, you can say that your mind wanders. That's the term in English, your mind wanders, or that you zoned out. You can say that as well. But it's very difficult to speak confidently in response to what someone said if you weren't even listening in the first place, right? To improve your speaking skills, you need to become an active listener. Not only will this help you with your English fluency, it will also improve all your relationships because listening to someone, truly listening to someone, is a sign of respect. When someone is speaking, pay full attention. To help you do that, focus on their lips, focus on their eyes, focus on their face as a whole, focus on their body language. And when your mind starts to wander, because it will, you need to instantly bring your attention back to the person. This takes work. As you're listening, you will naturally think of questions you may want to ask, points you want to clarify, or details you want more information on. So when it's your turn to speak, you will have so many ideas to prevent those awkward silences and to help you keep the conversation going. Step 2, be interested more than interesting. What do I mean by this? Have you ever had a conversation with someone and you can tell that that person is more interested in talking about themselves than they are in talking to you or learning about you or showing interest in your day, your life, your dreams? What if you met someone and when you told them something, you felt like they truly listened? And you felt like they were truly interested in what you just said. I imagine you would think very positively about that person, and you would want to spend more time with that person. Am I right? When you're having conversations with people, show that you're interested in them. How can you do this? Well, the easiest way to do this is by asking questions. Let's say I just got back from a 7-day trip in Texas. This is true. I did just get back from a 7-day trip in Texas. I want you to think of one question that you can ask me about my trip to show me that you're interested in me. So pause the video if you need and think of one question, just one question you can ask me about my trip. Do you have it? Do you have a question? Feel free to leave your question in the comments. Okay, now I want you to think of 2 more questions. So for a total of 3. Again, pause the video, take as much time as you need. And feel free to leave your questions in the comments. I promise I'll answer as many as I can. Now let me ask you, was thinking of one question, two questions, three questions, was that easy for you or difficult for you? What if I asked you to think of 50 questions you could ask me about my trip to Texas? Could you do that? Maybe you think that's not possible, that's too difficult, but I promise you that I could easily come up with 50 questions to ask someone about their 7-day trip in Texas. And I can do this because I've practiced being interested in others by asking questions. The easiest way to think of questions is to think of categories. So for a trip, the categories could be transportation, food, weather, entertainment, people, nature, likes, dislikes, recommendations, future travel plans. And for each category, you need to think of some questions. Now, you could easily come up with 5 questions to ask for each category, and there were 10 categories, so that's a total of 50 questions. And you could keep a conversation going for hours and hours and hours just by asking questions. And you'll naturally have more questions based on the person's answers to your initial questions, right? But of course, you can't just ask questions. That would be weird. You need to share your ideas too. And you need to do it fluently and confidently. So step 3, structure your ideas. The easiest way to sound fluent, confident, and professional while speaking is to structure your ideas. Think of this video. This video follows a very specific structure, as do books, movies, meetings, everyday conversations. I didn't start this video by saying, tip 1, improve your listening, because that would be confusing. It would be like starting a new book, and the first sentence is, she had to work late to finish the report. Who is she? Where does she work? What report? Why is this important? What are you talking about? Before you start talking, you need an introduction that prepares your listener for what you're about to say. You can have a more formal introduction like, today we'll discuss 3 strategies to improve your listening skills. Or you can have a more casual introduction like, I'm so excited for my 7-day trip to Texas. Now you know I'm going on a trip. It's 7 days. It's to Texas, and I'm excited. Think about everything I communicated with this simple introduction. Now you'll have your body. This is where you'll share your main ideas. So for the first example, I would share the 3 strategies to improve your listening skills. And in the second example, I would give you more information about my trip to Texas. The body is where you can include details that describe the who, what, when, where, why, and how. These are the WHs. Now, to think about what to say in the body, I would simply think of the WH questions, but answer it. Why did you choose Texas? Who are you going with? Where are you staying in Texas? The answer to these questions would form my body. So I could say, I'm going to Texas because I've always wanted to visit the southern US and experience their warm hospitality and delicious southern cuisine. I also really want to see cowboys walking down the street. How cool would that be? My husband and I are staying in San Antonio, where we found an amazing Airbnb right on the river. And then we're heading to Austin for some nightlife, and we found an Airbnb right near downtown. Now that's my body, so now you just need a conclusion. This video can't just end after this sentence. That would be awkward.
What just happened?
I have to say something to let you know I'm done talking. I could summarize what you just learned and say, now you know how to speak fluently about anything. And for my Texas trip, I could say something like, I know it's going to be a great trip. Now, if you follow this simple structure, remember introduction, body with WH answers, and conclusion, you will easily expand on your ideas and realize that you can speak fluently about basically anything. And remember, while the person is talking and hopefully structuring their ideas, you are actively listening. And you're going to keep the conversation going by being interested and by asking questions. So what do I need to end this video? I need a conclusion. Now you know how to speak fluently about anything. Of course, you just learned the strategy. You need to practice and implement these strategies to truly feel confident speaking in any situation. And remember, you also need the vocabulary and grammar, so you can watch this masterclass to improve your fluency right now.